All right, great. So, Carly, you're one of my gorgeous Master Spiritual Life Coach and Energy Psychology students at the Soul Awakening Academy. And you've agreed for our coaching session to be recorded live, just so people can see what a coaching session looks like.
Yeah.
It's super helpful for people who are thinking about embarking with a coach like yourself, or for somebody who wants to come and train at the Soul Awakening Academy as well, so they can see that we don't bite and the kind
Definitely
of thing
not.
that we do. Yeah. So I don't know what this session is going to bring up for us. This is just we'll just see where it goes. But do you have something specific you'd like to work on today?
Yeah, it's funny actually. It's something I've been working on for, definitely more recently since I've been going through the coaching. And it's particularly resonated with me, or it's particularly kind of flared up when I've been going through the inner scripts. Something I've been battling with, and something I've kind of realised is one of the main reasons I've been holding myself back, is my fear of rejection. And it's something that I've kind of acknowledged that I need to address. But more recently, I've been trying to figure out, okay, now I know that's something that's holding me back and I want to address it. It's kind of trying to then connect the dots and think about, okay, but how do I do that? And I had a recent situation actually, which has kind of helped to give me a little bit of insight and guidance. This is an area where it has been holding me back, but then how I'm trying to change that behavior. So I think maybe like a couple of weeks ago, I went on a couple of dates with this guy, and we're in lockdown, so we're very limited as to what we can do. So we could only literally go on a few walks, and so that's not my usual date vibe. Usually, I like to go out, have my date glam on, and I think definitely in a date environment, I'm definitely a lot more relaxed and a bit more open. But then also, I kind of realised that I do put on a bit of a facade. Whereas I thought with this guy, because we're sober, which is definitely not how I used to date pre-COVID. And, we can only go on walks and stuff like that. I thought, you know what? I'm actually just going to try and be a bit more me. Because that's something else as well. I think that's something I've been trying to figure out with this whole rejection mindset, is like, I actually need to just be myself. And I just kind of realised that I've been rejecting myself before I've actually got rejected. So again, that's why I thought I'd just be the best version of myself, which is definitely what I've been working towards. And the coaching's helped so much. And we went on a couple of really nice dates. And I was definitely held myself back a little, not held myself back, but I was definitely a lot more reserved than I usually be. And we went on our second date and he messaged me afterwards and he was like, look, I just don't think that there's a romantic spark. And I was just like, okay. And naturally I was really disappointed, but then I just thought, okay, I get where he's coming from. Lockdown is not ideal. And I kind of went back to him and I said, okay, but I think things would be different if we'd gone on a proper date. And I think usually I would have just accepted that as verbatim and thought, you know what, like, this is just a rejection. I don't want to kind of add any fuel to the fire. I don't want to put myself out there anymore. So I just leave it. But I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to put my case forward. And my script I'm trying to rewrite is basically choosing myself so they won't reject me, basically, if that makes sense. So I just went back and I was like, look, we haven't gone on a proper date yet. I think things could be different. We kind of agreed to get back in touch after lockdown. And usually what I've done in the past is we've kind of had that, I guess not even clean break, but we've kind of left things open-ended. And usually what I've done is I've always kind of freaked out and gone back to them, even though I've kind of left the ball in their court. And that's effectively what I've realised is me rejecting myself before I've been rejected. But I thought in this situation, actually by leaving the ball in his court and not actually doing anything, I'm then choosing myself. So then I'm giving him the space to choose me instead of reject me. So that's kind of what I'm working towards at the moment. I mean, we'll see how things go, because this is literally just like my recent insight aha moment that I've had. But I'm just trying to it's a test basically to see if it makes any difference. But I'm feeling a lot happier having that mindset, because it is the rejecting before I've been rejected, which is something that's really resonated with me. And that was definitely kind of the catalyst behind trying to address that. So that's kind of what I've been working towards lately.
Right. So that's a lot of insight and awareness. And in the scripts module on the course, this is like the module that gets everybody, It's like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't realize I was doing that and I was playing that role, and people in my life were no choice to play this script that we've got going on. Super powerful. And it does bring up a lot. And it's like, you're right. What do you do with that now? Okay,
Yeah.
you've got the awareness, but holy shit, how do I stop this script that's been playing out for however many years it's been embedded in your subconscious? So you make a good point. And from a place of awareness, conscious awareness, you can choose to make better choices, which it sounds as though you're doing that. And I mean, there are a couple of things that I could talk about that, but for the point of this session, as it's coaching, and you're bringing this up, how do you want this session to unfold in relation to that story?
I guess it's just having now I've had that realization, it's basically just sticking to my guns, because I've had in the past situations, like I said, when I've left the ball in people's courts, and initially I'm really empowered and I'm like, you know what, ball's in their court, if they like me, they'll get in touch with me, blah, blah, blah. Then a couple of weeks later, where there is that silence, and I know that we'll get to post-lockdown and I'm going to expect to hear from him, and I haven't. It's trying to then maintain my nerve and not revert back to that, oh, I'll just check in and say hi. Do you know what I mean? It's trying to break that habit, basically, because that is definitely where I go back to that rejecting mindset, is that kind of like, that fear of going to that fear I'm going to get rejected, and forcing it. And it is just trying to basically completely change that behavior. So it's just trying to think about how I can break the habit. Okay,
so you're connecting the behavior of touching base with them and checking in and saying hi to what? What are you connecting that behavior with? You rejecting yourself?
Yeah.
How are those two connected?
I guess it's kind of like, it's the rejection, but then also kind of like the validation as well, especially if I like them. And I just feel like sometimes because I like them and I think that there is a connection there, that I'll then go back and try and like make it happen and kind of make an excuse for them, thinking, oh, you know what, maybe they don't know that I like them, or, you know, maybe they're busy, I'll just say hi, blah, blah, blah. So it's the combination of validation, but then also what I didn't realize is that is the underlying motivation is the rejection thing as well. I don't want to be rejected again, basically. So I kind of put the onus on myself, whereas actually it's a two-way street.
So you don't want to be rejected, but you ultimately, how does it make you feel when you reach out?
Very vulnerable, very unnerved, and it almost makes me feel like I'm doing a disservice to myself as well, because I'm ultimately putting the power in their hands, and I know that I deserve better.
Well,
so again,
I'll challenge that.
Yeah.
Are you putting power in their hands? Over what power do they have, really?
I guess I think by putting the power in their hands, I'm creating that space for them to reject me. And I think by me detaching myself from it and being like, okay, well, I've kind of laid out my terms of business and I'm going to kind of give them that space. I'm kind of not that I have the power, because, you know,
I understand.
I don't
but I'll challenge that
belief
as well.
Yeah.
Are they rejecting you?
I think my perception is that they are. I think it is that they are rejecting me.
So it's your perception of rejection that's tied up in this story. So if somebody says or doesn't respond back to you, it's what you have associated emotionally with that thing, which you could look at that thing, let's just call it that thing, in different ways. But you've emotionally invested in it as a form of rejection. When I'm going to question you, is it really?
Haven't thought about it like that before. I mean, I think in my mind, they might not think that's the case, but definitely that is something that I would associate as rejection. I think also because it's not necessarily a domino effect, but I think especially in romantic relationships, I've had that experience so many times. I always get to this point. I think it's just like a domino effect. And I think the more it happens, the more I do associate it as rejection, as opposed to kind of like isolated incidents.
So tell me the ways that you reject yourself and life and other people and all the good stuff in your life, how do you reject yourself?
I think mainly I think that I'm not good enough, and I think I compare myself to others, and I think I can easily become intimidated by other people around me if I think that they've got a better job than me, if they went to a better university than me, if they have grown more, if they've got more wealth than me. And I think I've felt that for probably my entire life.
So just think about all the things that you reject because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just think about it now.
Yeah, completely.
Tell me what they are.
So I think, aside from the romantic things, I think that is something really big. I don't ever feel like I've ever had my dream job, because I've always kind of thought, oh, it's because I don't have enough experience, or, you know, there are other candidates and this, that, and the other. But I think it's funny because I always get to like the final stage most of the time. But I think what's stopping me from getting that offer is that lack of confidence I'm projecting. It's almost like an imposter syndrome. I don't feel like I'm deserving of that dream job for whatever reason, because I don't think that I'm good enough. I don't think that I'm clever enough. It is that lack of inner confidence that I've realised that I do project, because it's like kind of like the mirroring thing, I guess. And when I have an interview, I'm so nervous. I literally just crumble, even though I've done all the prep and I know I can do the job. It's just that lack of confidence. And again, I think it's the rejection thing as well. I think because I've been trying to get a new job for like a year, 2 years.
Okay. If somebody says no to you, you're seeing that as rejection.
Yeah.
And is that the case? If somebody says, you're just not for me, this is not a good fit.
Yeah, massively.
So just question that thought process that you have. If somebody says no to me, I take that personally. And I allow myself to spiral.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's forcing you to reject all this amazing stuff in your life, the dream job, the relationship, whatever else. You can probably, if you were to do a diagram and have, a mind map of all the things you reject in your life, because if people say no to me, that means, well, how would you finish that sentence? If people say no to me, that means
that I'm either not good enough or I'm not worthy. Yeah, I think that is literally, I think that just kind of defines the whole thing in a nutshell, to be honest. I've never really thought of it like that, but yeah, that's completely. And I think that's, again, like beyond my romantic relationships, that's what's holding me back in all areas of my life, that fear and that mindset that I don't know why. And it's something I am very aware of, but it's trying to get myself out of that mindset, which is where I've been struggling.
Okay, so let's use this situation that you're in, or a previous recent one that you can feel into. Just close your eyes. We'll do a little visualization session. It's always better to get into that emotional state through visualization, so you know how to do that. I just want you to recall a recent memory where somebody has said no to you and you felt that inner spiral of rejection, not good enough, not deserving. Just tell me just imagine that scene playing out now. Just give me a brief summary of what's happening in this scene, who you're with, what's going on.
Well, I'll give the example of the guy, because he sent me that message. So we went out, and then he messaged me like the next morning, and I hadn't heard from him in that period. So again, I was obviously a bit anxious building up to that. And then literally as soon as I read that message, my heart on my chest just felt so heavy. And actually, to be fair, even in my stomach, I just got that like gut-wrenching pain, and I almost kind of lost breath, to be honest. I just tensed up. And that is the feeling I get when I'm in this position of where I feel rejected or whatever. It was just really disheartening. And I just took it really personally. I just thought, just really deflated.
Yeah, of course. Okay, now just cast your mind back. Just allow yourself. You can imagine yourself floating up on a cloud in a hot
Yeah.
air balloon, whatever feels right. Just imagine
Yeah.
that your body, or a part of your body, part of your memory, just floats right up above where you sat. And we're going to ask it now to float way, 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 way back in time.
Yeah.
And as it floats way, way back in time, it's going across all your past timeline memories. It's floating all over your past experiences where this situation has occurred. And it's going to float way, 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 way back. And when I count from 1 to 3, on the count of 3, it will stop and it will hover over a scene where this first started. So the root cause of this problem. So we're going to just play with the subconscious mind and your imagination. And we're just going to ask your subconscious mind to imagine this floating back, right back. So 1, you're just floating, allowing your subconscious mind just to play, cast its way back. 2, starting to get closer to that first root cause. And then 3, it just lands and stops, and it just hovers close enough for you to feel and see into the first root cause, the cause of this issue that you face today. And just let me know what scene you see playing out here.
I think it was when I was in year 1. So basically I went to a primary school for nursery and reception, and then year 1 I moved. And I think I never found it difficult to make friends, but I think I definitely felt like an outsider, just because even in year 1, people had been at nursery together for however long, reception, like my cousin was there and stuff like that. So I think from there, I definitely felt like an outsider. I think with friendships since then, I've always felt like an outsider.
So have a look at this scene now.
Yeah.
Are you in nursery? Are you wearing your nursery clothes? Are you in nursery or year 1?
I'm in uniform. Yeah, I'm in year 1.
You're in your uniform. And what are you doing? Tell me exactly what you see in your mind's eye about this scene.
I think there's lots of groups of people playing, and I'm just kind of sat outside all these little circles and just don't know what to do with myself.
So how old would you have been at this moment in time?
Think about 6.
Okay. So 6-year-old Carly. Okay. Just have a little look at her body. Physically, what does she look like?
She's a bit crouched like this. She's sort of got quite tense shoulders. I think she's almost trying to actually not really be present, in terms of like trying to have like quite a light presence in the room, almost trying to sort of just be in the shadow a little bit.
Okay. And as from the 6 years perspective, what emotions were present with her when this was happening and she was crouched and tense, felt like an outsider, was looking in at all the other people playing? What emotions were present within her?
I think it was just fear and rejection, just not feeling, and also not feeling a bit lost, not really knowing which group do I try and make friends with, or I feel a little bit out of place here. I'm almost feeling kind of like I'm on the back foot.
Okay. And what thoughts were going on in her head at that moment in time about herself and about other people?
I think it's just, I don't know where I fit in, and then also feeling a bit intimidated by the more established groups. And again, that fear of, if I ask if I can play with them, can I play with them? Are they going to say yes? Are they going to say no?
So if I ask, I will be rejected, the answer will be no.
Yeah.
Okay. Just really check in with her now. Just have a little look. Go closer to her. Go as close as you possibly can, so you feel what she feels from that 6-year-old's perspective. That poor little girl feeling that way. Just establish and get a sense of what the most painful belief statement was that was created in this moment of time that she carries forward into her future.
think it's, I fear they're going to say no because I'm not good enough.
And where does she feel it in her body?
In her heart and in her stomach. I'd with that even in her throat, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. What does it feel like to her?
I think it just feels like almost you're trapped, and it's the fear thing. It's almost like you can't really catch your breath because you're just overcome by this feeling, and it is kind of like holding you back. It's sort of you're in your comfort zone, and you don't want to push yourself out of your comfort zone, but at the same time you don't want to be in there because of this really sort of wretched feeling. But it's safer than the outside.
Sure. So it's like a real fight or flight situation.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you can imagine Carly just stepping into that scene with her, with that younger you, and just placing one hand on her back and one hand on her heart.
Yeah.
And I just want you to fill up now this area with light. Fill it up with color and light. It's a vibration, it's a frequency of love, unconditional love. I just want you to imagine holding your hands on her body, and out of your hands pour this unconditional loving light. And just watch that light just penetrate all through the areas that she needs, where this emotion lives. Her throat, down her heart, her chest, her stomach, and the back of her heart. And just notice if that colour, what colour that is. What colour is that light that you can see?
It's a mix of pink and purple.
Yeah.
And there's also a little bit of green there.
Okay. Great. And I'm just going to hold that space with you. And just notice what happens to her when she feels this unconditional love.
She feels brave.
I'm sensing a different colour in the back, in the heart. I'm getting the colour yellow.
A bit of red as well, randomly.
Okay. So what we want to do is we want to leave her, we want to leave this memory feeling complete, not feeling the trauma of that event that you've carried with you up until now. We want to heal that moment in time. So by filling the body with this vibration of unconditional love, we will change the thought pattern of that 6-year-old. So I'm going to hold space for that healing to take place. And I just want you to talk to that younger version of you. I just want you to really hold her. I want you to give her a hug and tell her that she's okay. That this is not about her and it never was. This is part of human nature. But you can change the way that you feel about it because it's not about you. Just tell her some empowering words. Tell her what she needed to hear in that moment in time. And just say them out loud because it's more empowering that way.
You are good enough. You are worthy. You are brave. You should have no fear.
Okay, and just tell her from this moment on that you will no longer have any fear.
You'll no longer have any fear.
And tell her that you promise to take care of her.
Promise to take care of you.
That her emotional needs are your emotional needs.
Your emotional needs are my emotional needs.
And that you're fully capable of taking care of those emotional needs.
I'm truly capable of taking care of those emotional needs.
And that you promise from here on in to do that job.
I promise from here on in to do that job.
Okay. So just take a look at her face, take a look at her body. Is there anything left in her body that you feel needs attention?
I feel like her throat.
Okay. Okay. So just take your awareness into the throat. Just ask her what she wants to say.
I think she just wants to feel like she can be heard.
Okay. So allow her to be heard in this moment now.
Mm.
Heard by you.
Mm.
Tell her that you hear her.
I hear you.
And tell her that you understand her.
I understand you.
And that you're here for her.
I'm here for you.
Okay. And just see that throat area now fill up with the most beautiful, loving light that you could ever imagine. It might be a colour that you don't even recognise. But just imagine that colour filling up that area, expanding, expanding, and expanding. And you may notice that she starts using her voice in this scene. She might even start singing. Anything just to clear that area. And is there anything else in this scene that we need to bring our attention to now?
No.
Okay. So just imagine that 6-year-old you just skipping off. She may even find a group of friends to play with, or she might just find something that's interesting to her. But either way, she just leaves this scene happy and content and full of love. And as you float back up now out of this scene, I want you to imagine going forward in time, maybe to a moment in the future as close as next week. Any moment in your future. I just want you to use your imagination to see a scene playing out whereby you feel fully confident in who you are. Being able to express yourself and verbalize your emotional needs. And feeling comfortable within your own skin, no matter what the outcome might be. Feeling so present and in the body. The body feels full of this love and this light of unconditional love for yourself. And from this place, you recognize that things don't mean anything about you personally. Because you know how valuable and precious you are. And from this place, I just want you to give me a name that really sums up what this says about you in this empowered state?
Confidence or confident.
Yeah. And just check in with your body in this scene. Just check the throat. What does the throat feel like or look like energetically?
It's like there's those sort of musical notes coming through the throat, and it's just like bursting out of my mouth. Like I feel like no one can shut me up, basically. So I don't know what to sing, but I feel like I have that space and that confidence to communicate and speak my truth, and not worry about the ramifications. I don't feel like, I feel like I am going to be heard. I don't feel like anybody's going to speak over me like I have before. I just have.
And what about the heart and the stomach area?
I think the heart feels like it's in the right place. I feel like there's a lot of self-love in there, which makes me feel, it's giving me the confidence to be myself. And I think my heart, it doesn't have that kind of nervous, knotted feeling. It feels like it's given me that power to be more confident and, you know, live my personality and just be me and not worry about what's going to happen. I'm being myself.
Okay, and if you were to imagine a colour that intensifies this feeling, what colour would that be?
Maybe yellow.
Yeah. Okay, great. Is there anything that your future self wants to let your now self know?
I am worthy, and as long as I'm confident, that won't hold me back, and I need to believe in myself, because I'm the only person that's holding me back, no one else.
Okay. If you were to make an inner personal promise to yourself right now that is in total alignment with that future empowered, confident self, what would that promise be in this moment in time?
I think it's fight fear with fear, and just believe in myself and be aware of what I'm projecting. And as long as I'm true to myself and I'm confident and I know what I want, there's nothing saying that I won't get there, and I'll get there. I just need to believe in myself.
So finish the sentence. From here on in, I make a commitment to my soul that I will
believe in myself.
Believe in myself. Okay. Okay, Carly, well done. So in a moment, I'll just count 1 to 3. And on the count of 3, just bring yourself right back into the body and into this moment in time with me. So 1, just wiggling your toes. 2, feeling the chair, supporting your body. And 3, you can take a nice deep breath and open your eyes and come back to me.
Oh,
well done.
Oh, wow.
Well done. Everything you need is already within you.
Yeah.
So just share the insights or awareness or feelings you had from doing that exercise.
I think I didn't realise how deep rooted it is, because I do know, I think I could definitely attribute past events throughout my life as to why I have this fear of rejection, but I think I didn't quite realise what memory I would think was my earliest fear of rejection. It kind of, it just made me think, and I think that self-belief is pretty much probably the way that I am going to address that fear of rejection. Again, I didn't really necessarily kind of think that was the key. So yeah, it was good. Feeling good.
Good. And how do you feel about that interpersonal commitment you just made to your soul, to believe in yourself. What can you do if a situation arises where there's a potential for you to go back into that old automatic way of thinking, feeling, and behaving? How can you make sure that you believe in yourself? What does that actually look like?
I think if I ever feel like I'm reversing to that state, if I'm getting a bit tense or my tummy's in the back, I'm going to take that nervousness out of my body and look at it and say, you are good enough. Believe in yourself. You're the one who's holding you back. And just try and be a bit more objective, as opposed to just, I feel like sometimes my emotions get the better of me, because it is that self-doubt that kicks in. I think it's just trying to take myself out of that situation and look at it a bit more objectively, and just have that belief, basically.
Because in that moment of internal belief, the negative one, where it takes you on a spiral, that's you rejecting you. Nobody rejecting you in the outside world. People are just living their lives according to their preferences, and we have many, and it's you rejecting you in that moment. So I just pulled this random values card, which has got winning on it.
It's a nice card.
So what does that mean anything to you? How does that resonate with you if you were to align your life to that value of winning?
I think for me, there's a lot that I want to achieve and a lot I know I'm capable of, but it is this inherent fear of rejection that has stopped me from just taking that step forward. And I think also, I'm very idealistic about what I want, and thinking that everything's actually so far in the future. It's like, I know I'll get there, but I'm not actually putting things in place now and living in the present. And I think it is that fear factor, and it is that lack of self-belief. So I think I need to just tell myself that in order for me to get there, I need to first and foremost do something each day, or do something in the present to get me there, but then also make sure that I do have that belief and that confidence to just kind of work at it and not feel like I'm not worthy of what I want, because I know that I can get there.
Yeah, okay. So it's important that you recognize your thought pattern, because when you're rewriting such an ingrained automatic response to an outside external event, everybody perceives that event so differently based on our internal experience, on our belief system, based on our experiences, which are also different. So in that moment where you go into this spiral, just bring your awareness into the fact to question your belief system before it gets downward spiraling. How am I rejecting myself in this moment by allowing that thought process to kick in and take me down this emotional pathway? So just always question your belief system, because if your belief system is telling you something negative about yourself, it is a trigger from the past, an unhealed trigger from the past, and that's what you can work with. So at the start of your session, you said, how do I stop this? How, with the awareness I have, how do I change the way that I behave? The way that you change it is you question it. As soon as you feel that spiral coming in, is this negative? Am I speaking to myself in a negative way? Then you can remind yourself, am I rejecting myself in this moment? Yes. Okay, if I was coming from a place of unconditional love for myself, then how can I speak to myself in this moment? And you'll find a very different way. And eventually, Carly, that becomes an automatic behavior, not the old path, because if you tread that path hard and long enough, that becomes your automatic belief system. You won't need to think about it so much anymore. It'll just happen. And that will totally change your reality. It will open up new doors for you, like the dream job. There won't be the fear of, if people say, if people say, if I say, can I be a part of this, and people say no, then that won't be there anymore.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. That was amazing. I feel a lot better now.
Good. It doesn't happen overnight. It is practice.
Yeah.
It's practice. So you
know
what to do.
Exactly.
And yeah, I'm here if you need anything. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, my love. Take care.
Thank you so much. You too. Take care.
Bye, love. Bye.
Bye.